Hey everybody, Joy here. It is 2:30 on Monday afternoon, June 21, 2021. We're going to start talking about the lounge gown challenge. I am just so excited that so many of you want to play because this is going to be the most fun we've ever done. Because everybody's going to embellish their lounge gown. It's going to be so exciting to see all the creations that everybody comes up with. I'm so excited. I really am. I think it's going to be so fun. And not only that, if we find several, some, all of them, that we really like, then we can do it too. Awesome! So, I want to talk a little bit about Fit Nice Systems because that's what you're going to win. Here's the book that I won. It came just today from Judy Kessinger. I think she says her name Kessinger. So I'm going to show you the book because a lot of you were saying what book. Now somebody asked if it could be shipped to Australia. And I asked Judy and she answered me back and said that it's an ebook. And that people can get the ebook no matter where they are. But I didn't think this was an ebook. I was thinking her third book was an ebook. But maybe this is an ebook too. So go to Fit Nice Systems and check it out. So here it is. This is the book. You can see it's substantial. It's a substantial book. It's brand spanking new. Sparkly and shiny. I can't believe I won it. I already own it, of course. That's why I'm giving it away. That's why I thought, oh my gosh, we've got to come up with something so somebody can win it. So that's how this whole nightgown challenge, which we're now calling a lounge gown, that's how the whole thing started. Because the idea is it can be nice enough that you can answer the door in it, or you know, you could go out on your patio in it, or if you had guests, you could wear it, you know. It's decent and covers you, okay? So here's my book, and here's the brand new book. I have looked at this book 100,000 million times. There's only one complaint I have about this book, is you can't look the garments up by their name. Like if you want to find the seaside top, you can't just go to an index and see seaside top. In the back, she has sort of an index, but you have to know that seaside top is under knit tops or under, she's got blouses from woven. Can you use wovens? Yes. Blouses from woven, coats, dress for comfort, easy knit tops. Now under the easy knit tops, there's 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. That's why this book is so expensive. There's 24 tops under easy knit tops. And so you can find seaside top here and it will tell you what page it's on, but you can't just come back here and look for seaside top. So I wish Judy would change that. So, you know, you just look under S seaside top and it tells you what page it's on. But still, you'll figure it out. Sometimes I put tabs on it. Oh my, I'm getting the books mixed up now. These books are so well made. Yeah, this is mine. That they hold up really well. And this binding, this spiral, it's a heavy spiral. It doesn't bend, it doesn't move. It's really nice. So I will send it to the winner in this very nice box. Maybe with a pair of earrings. A lot of you have said, yes, I want earrings with my lounge gown. I'll make you. All 3 winners, I will make you a pair of earrings, whatever color you tell me you want, okay? All right, this is the prize. And the next prize is going to be yardage from my stash. Now here's some yardage I'm getting ready to make my next lounge gown out of. Because I'm going to do a tutorial to show you how I use Judy's master top pattern, and then I use it with my fit corrections in it. A lot of people can do FBAs, but then they don't know how to do them in a dolman sleeve top. Oh, I'm sure you can find it out there on the internet. You can find everything on the internet these days. But since I use this, that's what I have on. It's what I have on. Judy Kessinger's Master Top. This is it. I embellished this with my scan and cut because I was practicing my scan and cut to learn it. And I tried to be real creative and make an angle on it, and it looks kind of goofy. But anyway, I really like the little butterfly part. Okay? Now I want to tell you something else. And again, I'm not affiliated with Judy. It's such a fun system. And she has so many helpful things. And one of the things that she has, and she did not ask me to tell you this, she didn't ask me to do any of this. This is just me. I do this with Glenda Sparling sometimes because I love Sure Fit Designs. I may do Sure Fit Designs next. But I just love both those ladies. Remember, it's her Master Top pattern. That's what I made this out of. That's what I made my Material Girl top out of. It's what I have made many garments with. Some of them have inset sleeves, a lot of them have dolman sleeves. I hated dolman sleeves. I never wanted to do dolman sleeves until Judy showed me how to do them so I could like them. This is called the Jessica top. Now I don't know if this came from one of her Fit Club things or if it's in her book. It might be in her book, I'm not sure. But anyway, I just wanted to show you. She's always, always, always coming up with a new way to use this one pattern. It's just beyond belief. It really is. I'm just amazed at what she does with it. So I'm just going to show you this simple top because it's real cute. It's called Jessica. And this one looks like it has a set-in sleeve. And then it's just got that fun collar. And then you can embellish the collar so many ways. And you can see she's got a slit in her sleeve there. And she doesn't. It's just fun, 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 and easy, 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 easy. Okay? So you might want to check into Fit Nice Club. Again, no affiliation. Judy did not ask me to tell you that. I just wanted to. All right. Here's my pattern. Now this is kind of small. The pattern comes in it, but I don't keep it in it because it's kind of small. So I put mine in a bigger envelope. So this is what you get. It's one paper. It's a big paper, but it's only one. I need to have mine laminated or something. I'm about to wear it out. So on one side, she has different necklines, and she has the dolman sleeve. On the other side, she has the front and the back. The front and the back are exactly alike, except for the neckline. Can you get easier than that, my friends? You can't. Exactly alike, except for the neckline. And here's the sleeve you use for a set-in sleeve. And the pattern, as it is for knits. It's for knits, all different styles of knits, all different kinds of knits. But you can make wovens as well, and she tells you how to do that. You can see it for free right now. You can go to her website, and you can look under, well, I'm not sure what it is. I'll get on the computer after a while and show you. But if you can find where it says variations and click on variations, she has videos showing you how do you do a woven, how do you do it if you lose weight, what do you do if you gain weight, what do you do if you want a V-neck, what do you do if you want a long sleeve, what do you do if you want a short sleeve, what do you do if you want this style, that style, another style, every style. Yeah. Free. You can watch them all you want. Okay, here we are. This is my front and my back with my adjustments already in it. This is what I use for everything I make. So I am going to set up the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and we're going to draw a brand new pattern, and I'm going to show you how I do my fit adjustments. All right? I'll be back in a second. Don't forget to determine how long you want your lounge gown to be. Start at your shoulder. I start about there because that lines up with my bumps. Go over your bump. hold the tape. Go down on the tape with your hand, hold it again. I'm holding it right here. Then go down and see how long you want yours to be. I want mine to be 39 inches. 39 inches. So from the shoulder of your pattern here, take away the 1/2 inch and go down 39 inches, and that's where you're going to cut the bottom of your pattern to be. 39 inches, and make sure that 39 inches allows you for a hem. I'll probably put 5/8 inch hem in it. I'll probably put lace on the bottom. But 39 inches will be plenty for me. You may need 40, you may need 45, you may need 25. So figure out for you how much you want to have, okay? I'll be back. I've drawn my front. Now you probably noticed I have a bunch of extra colored lines here. That's just because I don't ever use the neckline she has on here. It's way too high, it choked me, I hate that neckline. On me. But you can certainly start with it. I would start with it if I was you, because you can always change the neckline. Even after you have your fabric cut out, you can change the neckline. But you can see down here is kind of where I like to have mine. I put the front on the center front line. This piece of paper is on the center front line. Center front. Center front. I've drawn the armhole, and then I took the yardstick and I put it over here on the side, and I drew down to the bottom of her pattern. Now, for my extension, I measured 39 inches down from the shoulder. Don't measure from up here at the top, measure from the 1/2 inch down. I measured down to 39 inches, I made a line. Now what you need to do, hopefully you can see me. I can't tell what you can see because my camera's not turned around. I think you can. I made a line down here at 39 inches. Here's my line right here. Don't just draw from that line over. Take your ruler, put your 1 there on that line. Look up here at the bottom of her pattern. Mine is 11 1/4 inches. So I just take the 11 1/4, move it over, draw my line. 11 1/4, move it over, draw my line. 11 1/4, move it over, draw my line. Otherwise you're liable to get this crooked, going up or down or sideways. I have drawn off a 1 inch hem. Now I like to have my hem fit inside the garment. It will not fit inside. You will end up with ruffles and ridges and gathers. So let me show you how you fix the hem. Also, when you come down from the bottom of her pattern, I don't think I went straight out from the arm. Did I? No. I didn't keep going straight out. I came in a little bit and then came down. You don't want to just go out, and be clear out here somewhere. So just a gentle line, you know, from the hem down or the hip down. All right, so I'm going to show you how to fix this hem. You see how I have this folded up? I'm simply going to draw it to match what's underneath it. So I have cut it all the way now. I have cut this little tiny sliver off. A sliver. But this sliver times 4 really makes a difference when you're hemming. Now when you're using a knit, it's not that important because knits can stretch. But just to be perfect, I always make my hem fit so it folds up in there perfect. Just perfect. I love that. All right, so here you can see I've got my front drawn. So I'm going to write on here, front, front. And I'm going to put a date because I draw these all the time. What's today's date? 6/21/21. And it's fit, nice, system. Okay? All right, I'm going to see who's on my phone. I'm going to cut this out and then I'll be back. Here's the front all cut out. You see how little I am up here? See how little? Then that's why because I have drawn it for my shoulders and my neck and my upper body, this part here is going to be too small for my bust. Even though there's enough room to go around me, it's still not going to fit my bust right. You'll see that in a little bit. So you're going to line this up, center front, and shoulder. See how easy? And so then I'm just going to come and I'm going to draw this right here. See that? That line right there. Then I'm going to draw this line right here. Then, because I don't need all of this extra in here, I don't draw mine down that far. Here's the 38. So I'm just going to come up and over like this. And you can change this with the sewing machine later. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do mine. I'll have a piece of paper. I'll put another piece of paper under here and add it on. And then I will do that. Now, I usually put the sleeve on before I do the FBA. But I'm thinking today, why should I do that? Why don't I go ahead and do the FBA while there's no sleeve there? Because if I cut it with the sleeve on, I'm just going to have to cut the sleeve off. I wouldn't cut the sleeve off here. I would just cut the sleeve off straight up. But I'm going to go ahead and do my FBA. And then I'm going to draw the sleeve on. I'm going to see if that'll work this time, okay? Let's try something new, Sue. That's what I say. I don't know if I can explain this so anybody can understand it or not. But I cannot get Judy's pattern to match up the front to the back when I cut it out according to her places there. Because the back's 1/2 inch doesn't match up. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Hopefully it will make sense. You know, I am just super picky. Okay, so if you cut the back out like that, that's where the back's 1/2 inch is going to be. Here's the top of the back right there. That's the top of the back. Okay, so her front comes up this way. Okay? Let me do a different color. That might make sense. I hope this all irons off. Oh. So, the front of her pattern comes up this way. And the 1/2 inch in is here. That would be the 1/2 inch in. Okay? From there, and the 1/2 inch in from here is here. And the 1/2 inch in from here is there. Now let me see if this makes any sense. The seam allowances on the back are right there. The seam allowances on the front are here. This dot and this dot should be on top of each other. I hope that makes sense. She doesn't have the front drawn properly, in my opinion. In my opinion. That's why I have these separate lines. Because in my world, let me get another different color. In my world, here's my back in the pink. Its point is right here. Here's the front, my front. Its point is right there. They cross over each other. Does that make sense? That's why I draw my back here and I draw my front here. The front is okay if you change the back. Okay? So I don't use this. I don't use that. That does not work for me. I don't know why Judy has it that way. I know that a lot of times after she cuts her things out, she changes them after they're sewn. But in my world, I want that junction right there to come out right when I draw my pattern. So when I draw my pattern, they join right there, right there. See? This is the back, this is the front. So I just wanted to explain what all of that writing on there is for. That's what that's all on there for. And some of these other marks are for different styles that I made, and I just marked in pencil. I always make it so I can remove it, okay? So I can remove all of this. Alrighty, just wanted to show you that. Alright, now you've seen me do this many, many times. You don't want to do this with the dolman sleeve top on. So get something, get your bra on and take everything else off. Keep your bra. And some tight pants. or just your underwear. You're not going to be standing in front of a camera like I am. Okay, here is my pattern. I have it pinned together. This is paper. This is not the patternese. The patternese would be much nicer to do this part with. But the paper doesn't have my fitting corrections in it yet. And I like to do that when I can cut and tape. So we are now in the Palmer and Plesh method of paper, pattern, fitting. Palmer and Plesh. Fabulous, amazing, awesome books. They're in my store, in the Amazon store. Buy them all. I think there's only 2 of them. One for knits. Well, there's one for pants, one for tops, one for jackets, one for the tops, fit for all people, and the pants, and the knits. Worth every penny. Oh my goodness, they're so good. Now, you have to have a 3-way mirror for this, you guys. If you don't, set 3 mirrors up, get someone to help you somehow. You've got to do the back first. Get a piece of tape and tape it to your neck. This is how I know if I need a round back or not. Does the seam here, and this is why you want to draw the original neck on that pattern, the Fit Nice pattern, because you want it all the way up as high as it will go. Does the seam match my bone up here on my neck? And it actually does. I may not even need a round back. That would be a wonderful miracle. Then you want this to reach your center back. If I didn't have this top on, I could tape it. I'm going to try pinning it and hope I don't tear it. It usually ends up just in shreds. Okay, I have that pinned now. Yeah, that's pinned. So yes, it meets my center back. I got plenty of room. You can see it's just fine in the back. Just fine back there. The side seam needs to go to your side. The side seam's right there. How do I know if I need a sway back? If the side seam, and it does, if the side seam swings forward, I need a sway back, and that will pull the side seam straight. See there? Pinch it back here. Yes, I'm still in the middle. And my shoulder still wants to be taken up. Right there. My shoulder wants to be taken up about 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put another pin in it about 1/4 inch down. Yeah. That looks good. Now, this fold on the back sleeve, you see the back armhole opening? You see that puffy part there? That's saying you need a round back. Just look at it and you can see that if you were to cut across my back, let me see if I can show you where. If you were to cut across my back, not my back, my pattern, you see the puffy right here. There's the puffy. If you were to cut across right here, a line right across there, that puffy would go away. I should almost do it so you could see it. Let me see if I can do it. I'm not cutting my blouse. That tape is weird. Don't cut your blouse, Judy. You can see Peggy Sagers do this in practically every single thing she makes. You have to go all the way. But it definitely needs to have a round back. It's not pulling open too far. It just needs a little bit of one. And then that would go up. Let's pull this up. That will go up. And that would go down. And if I had cut all the way across, that puffy part would go away. Okay? This is round back. It really doesn't need much of one. I usually need like 1 inch. So it really doesn't need much of one, which is good. But that will make that puffy part in that sleeve go away. So I've got the sway back. I've got the round back. I need both of those. Now, look what we got going on in the front. Even though I measured, and I made sure there was enough to go around, it's not reaching me. I'm here. The center of me is here. This is the center front of the garment. I'm here. That is more than 1 inch away. The back is great. But the front, this here, and this here need a full bust adjustment. The center of me is here. The center of this paper should be touching me in the center. You see, it touches me fine up here. See, it's to my center. It fits me just perfect. The shoulder's perfect. Shoulder slope's perfect. Fits me right here perfect. But then we got these bumps. So I need to add, God, at least an inch. Maybe an inch and a quarter. My goodness, that's a bunch. But remember, we're using a knit. So I'm gonna say 1 inch. This right here screams, make a bust dart or else. Make a bust dart. All right, I'll be back. Well, I just came in here and started putting this together, and I thought, oh wait, I'm supposed to show them. So all I did was, here's where you saw me do that jagged cut out there. I cut from out here to the seam allowance, and I cut from in here to the seam allowance. I pulled this open, however much it wanted to be pulled open out there, and I have just filled it in with a piece of paper. Here's my sway back right here. This is my sway back. All I did was cut it. Now you mark your seam allowance. Your seam allowance is a 1/2 inch. And so you cut into the seam allowance and you cut over to the seam allowance. Okay? Then that makes this cross over or separate a little bit. I crossed over here. And so it makes this outside part separate just the tiniest bit. See in here where I crossed over? I have crossed over. I just know how much I need, so that's what I always do. See, there's the paper on the back. That's how much I crossed over. Didn't even measure it. Probably about 5/8 inch. Yeah, 5/8 inch. That's what I always cross over. So you cut it. You can either bring the top down or the bottom up. I brought the bottom up and matched it to where that red line is, and then I just taped it. So here you take away, up here you add. Can you still put it on the fold? Absolutely. You put this part right there on the fold, and then you put this part down here on the fold. Just like this, play like that line's the fold. You put it on the fold just like that. And whatever's in between doesn't matter. Does not matter. Put the very top on the fold, put the very bottom on the fold. Put something to hold it when you're doing a video. Can you see the whole thing? So, play like that line, that blue line right there is the fold. So, it's going to give you more fabric right in here. But it's not going to matter. It's just a tad more ease. That's all it is. It's just a teeny tiny bit more ease, maybe a 1/2 inch. And you can probably use it anyway. Up here, where the round back is, this is the straight, this is the fold, right there. Up here, where the round back is, it's going to remove a 1/16 of an inch. A 1/16 of an inch. That's not going to matter. That's not going to matter a bit. See here? The blue line's the fold. The blue line. Right here, it goes over the blue line a smidgen. You are never, ever, ever going to miss that in your garment. Here, it's going to add a little bit more, right around your tummy where you need it. That'll be perfect, right around your hips where you need it. So you're going to get a little more fullness right there. You will love it. You will appreciate it. All right? I hope that's making sense, my friends. So what's the very first thing you have to do before you do your FBA? This is extra paper. Throw it on the floor. You don't need this ruler. Get rid of it. You don't need this paper. Get rid of it. Don't get rid of it permanently. Just move it out of your way. Are you throwing it away? No, of course not. So here's my front. Now, those of you who watch me all the time, I know you know exactly what to do. And you're like, we are so sick of watching you do this, Joy. You have to know where your apex is. Where is your apex? Where has it been? Where do you find it? Put the garment up to your body. Does it have to be perfect? No. Put this down under your arm where it goes. Line up your shoulder as best you can. Look at that shoulder. It's not just perfect. This isn't going to reach my middle, but it will reach my apex. So then you take something and you mark it. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark my apex. It's right there. Right there is my apex. And that isn't even the front. Here's the front. My apex is clear down here in the Netherlands. Now, I know that my apex is usually 11.5 inches down and 4 to 4 1/4 inches across. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure and see if I got anywhere near that. Let me see. 4. Exactly. Boy, that's good. 4 1/4 inches. Let's use a color. 4 1/4 inches, and let's see how far down I got it. Usually I'm about 11.5 inches from the seam allowance. Perfect! My gosh, that landed just perfect. See? If you will do that, if you will just put it up to your body, it will come out so good. So good. 11.5. Right there is my apex. That's it. Right there. Now we're going to draw line 1, line 2, line 3. Get those Palmer Plesh books. Oh my gosh, where are my Palmer Plesh books? They are so good. Philly made me this book. When we were going to our class in Tulsa, Philly made me this book. And so this is what Philly made, and this is what I made. I made this pair of pants in that class. A little baggy because they just were full leg pants, but they fit me great in the butt at the time and the belly. Look at how cute Philly is, isn't she, darling? So, this is it. This is what it looks like. Philly had me go have holes punched in it at the copy shop so we could put it in a notebook, and that way we could turn the pages easier, see? So, fit for real people. I think I own 2 of these. I own the pants one, and I own the knit one. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. They're in my Amazon store. Okay, let's do this FBA. And the reason I told you that is because that's where I learned the FBA from. That's where it's at. That's where you learn it. Let me turn this around. So we're going to draw lines. It is that simple. We're going to slap this down, and we're going to draw a line over there to where a bus dart should be. Am I going to put a bus dart in this? Probably not. I will move the bus dart somewhere, I don't know where. So I'm going to draw a line over there. That's where a bus dart would be. I'm going to draw a line up here where all of that fullness was in my armpit. You can still see it. It was all right there. All this fullness right there in my armpit. I'm drawing a line up there. Then I'm going to draw a line all the way down. What happened to that yardstick? All the way down. What I'm going to do is put this on a line. Use your paper weights. Put that on a line. Boy, this is the crookedest yardstick. I think Judy Messinger's is crooked too. Draw a line all the way to the bottom. So we're going to get extra fullness in the hip, extra fullness in the bottom. Boy, that isn't showing up at all. Okay. So you got your 3 lines. Here's a line. That's 1. Here's a line. That's 2. Here's a line. That's 3. Move these so you can see. You draw them from the tip of your apex. Everything goes from the apex because that's your little mountain, that's your little hill, that's what's in your way, that's what's causing you problems. So we're going to give it more room. All right, here's what you do next. Don't be afraid to do this. People do it all the time. Let me see if I can remember how to tell you to do it. You go up. If I don't do it in a while, I have to go get the book out to remind myself. You go up, and then you go over. Now remember the seam allowance. Remember your seam allowance. Always stop, not always, but most of the time, you stop at your seam allowance. You don't over there, but you stop at your seam allowance there, I think. We're going to make some hinges here. So you go to your seam allowance, jump it, and then cut the rest of the way. Leave yourself a hinge. See, hinge duty. You see how out here at the seam allowance it crosses over, it makes it move? That's why you need to free it up. See? So I'm going to move this out 1 inch for me. But we can't have this sticking way out here like a flag. That can't work. It could. I know sometimes Philly does as much as 3 inches. And I've done 1.5 inches before. But since this is knit, it doesn't have to be perfect like in a woven. Now we're going to cut across here all the way. Cut all the way through that one. Okay? So now how many hinges do we have? Raise your hand if you know. Here's a hinge right there. And here's a hinge right there. That is 2 hinges. Now this hinge has to be totally, totally, totally to the edge. Totally. You may clip through it. If you do, tape it back together. So we have a hinge here and we have a hinge here. Now where's our apex? Is our apex down here now? No. Our apex didn't move. Our apex is still here. We drew it on our body and that's where it is. So remember, this is your apex. Part of it fell down, but we're not worrying about that part. This is no longer your apex. This is just a hinge. This is just a hinge. So all of this part here, oh, somebody said use colored paper. Let me get some colored paper. All right, we'll use green so you can see it, okay? We'll use green. Let's cut some green up. I hope you guys can't see my awful fuzzy socks. I get cold in here sometimes. I think, oh, I keep socks in my cupboard in case I get cold. All right, so we're going to stick this under here, and we're going to fill that in. We're going to fill it in. Palmer and Plesh make special paper to do this with that has measurements on it, but you don't really need to have that. Get you some tape. You need tape. You need permanent tape. Permanent tape. Remember, when you use a knit, you don't have to make it as big as if you're using a woven, because you have negative ease in a knit. Otherwise, I probably would have had to do this 1.5 inches. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, I told you I was going to add 1 inch, so let's draw 1 inch. This is a lot of fun. And if you get that book, the directions are in it. You can see her fit all kinds of people. She fits a lady that has scoliosis. I have scoliosis. But that lady has it worse than I do. I've had it my whole life, and it doesn't get any worse, but it doesn't get any better either. So I'm crooked back here. My backbone's crooked, and I kind of cave in right here. If you saw my back without my clothes on, you'd go, oh! Phyllis said, oh my goodness, I've never seen a back like that before. I said, well, I'm just full of surprises. Okay. We all have something. Thank God we get to wear clothes. All right, so here's my hinge. I drew that red line at 1 inch. Now I'm going to line this other side up to it. Make sure everything stays flat. This is flat pattern making, as Peggy always says. Peggy Sagers. You know, she's one of my very faves. She's a little different, but I have learned a lot from her. Now, what if you didn't want the fullness all the way down to the bottom? I don't know why you wouldn't, but you can close this right here if you want to, but I never do. I like all that extra fullness. Hey, come back in here. It wants to move, especially when you're trying to show somebody on a video. It's like, we don't want to be on TV, Joy. Flat. Keep everything flat. Tape, 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 and more tape. I'm going to use this pattern for a long time, so you want it to be right. And remember, I haven't made it a dolman yet. I'm doing the FBA before the dolman, and I don't know why it won't work after that. We'll see. I could be wrong. Won't be the first time, that's for sure. All right. There we go. So I have filled all this 1 inch width here, and you can see this is going to give me more width across my front. That's why I started with it as little as I needed, because I knew I would be adding more. There we go. We're going to put that right there. But do you want a bust dart in your nightgown? Sure, why not? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can have one if you want one. Or you can move it. You can move it. If I was to move this bust dart, I would move it into the bottom. And when you do that, it adds a ton of room down here. And then you have to take it away on the sides, unless you want all that extra fullness. How do I know this stuff? Because I've been doing it for years and years and years and years. This stuff used to terrify me. Terrify me. I wouldn't have cut into a pattern for anything. I'd have probably gone about 4 or 5 patterns and kept making different sizes. I didn't know you could change a pattern. Now you can see this curve right here. That doesn't look good anymore. And I hope my battery doesn't go dead. That happens to me and I don't know it because it doesn't make a noise. Where is my yellow thingy-mabob? Always losing something, y'all. You saw it, didn't you? Here it is. I hung it up. Oh, go figure. I put it away. Okay, so I'm going to use my curve, and I'm going to put it down here the way it goes. The way it goes. And I'm going to redraw this curve in here. There you go. So I just added this right here. I just added that to fill that funky area in there. That's real easy to do. There you go. So now that part's filled in. Lift it up, see where the loose parts are. Be sure you got plenty of tape to hold it down. Because when you try it back on your body, you want to be sure it stays together. So I think I have lots of tape on it. Okay, now what do we want to do with this bust dart? It's not hard, it's just a lot to tell you, because there's a lot of things you can do. You can move the dart anywhere. You could move it up here into the shoulder, but you would have to sew it in, or you could do a pleat. You could release it up here. That might look cute. Or what I like to do a lot of times if I'm making a top, and I might do it with this, I don't know, I like to do a French dart and do it down here toward the waist. But that makes a really big dart, and you have to cut the innards out of it or you'll have way too much fabric. Or you can leave your dart right here. You can leave your dart right here and put it in your nightgown. Or you could just gather this part right here and then make the back fit it. Just gather this together. Gather, 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 gather. And then that would make a bust dart that didn't look like a bust dart. So you could do that too. There's a lot of things you can do. So you could put it over here and you could gather that part of it, but you'd have to have a center front seam to do that. You could put it up here in the neck. I just don't know what I want to do with that bust dart, y'all. So for right now, I'm just going to draw it right there and show you what you would do if you did want it. Can you have a bust dart and a nightgown? I don't know that there's a law against it. I mean, there's not even a law against murdering your babies these days. Sure, there's not a law against that. Oh! Now, remember, 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 remember this. Why do you always say everything more than once? Because repetition helps me remember, so I'm assuming it helps you remember. This is not your apex. That's not your apex. Don't draw your dart to that dropped piece of your apex. your apex is still right here. That's where it was to start with, and that's where it still is. We are going to draw to the actual apex, just so we know where to aim our dart. If you were going to move this dart, you would cut to your apex. You would not cut to the tip of the actual dart. For designing, you always cut all the way to the apex, okay? So if I wanted to move this dart, say I wanted to move it up here, I would simply cut it, then I would close it, and then my line up here would open up, and then I would have a dart in the shoulder. Yes, I think that would be fun. Okay, so our new dart's going to end here, and it's going to end there, and we're going to come out 1 1/4 inches right there. And you need to know the middle here, which is usually pretty easy to find. I've got it right on. That's the middle. I don't know if pink will show up, but we'll try it. All right, so here's our 1 1/2 away from the apex, and this is going to be the dart we sew in it if we leave it here. Does that make sense? You don't ever sew your dart all the way to your apex. I don't know. Might make a fun nightgown. Your husband might like it. So, there's the dart we would sew with the sewing machine. Right here's the tip of the dart. Right here is still your apex. This is the tip of your dart. This is your apex. You would sew from here to the tip of your dart is where you would sew. So now you have to do what's, I want to say reconcile. I don't think it's called reconcile. It's called perfect. Perfect the dart. So now what you do is you fold the bottom of the dart like as if you were sewing it. Fold it. This is another reason you want to use paper for this, because the patternese is just thick and it really gets messy doing all of this. I could cut this out of patternese once I get all this done. And of course you don't have to do it. You don't have to even do it. Judy's people don't do this. They make it without the dart. I'm just doing it because you asked me to. Alright, so now I'm going to line this up over here. I'm going to start it at the underarm point, line it up where it hits here, and then I'm going to cut like that. And there we are. You see how I cut that perfectly straight right there? Perfectly straight. And now, ta-da! Bust dart duty. Bust dart duty. Now if you like a full nightgown, move that dart down into the skirt and it'll just make a much fuller nightgown. I kind of like to do it up at the top, but I don't have the neckline like I wanted. Now this neckline's not going to stay like that. This is going to be a V neckline, or it's going to be a boat neckline, or it's going to be some other kind of neckline. Now remember, Judy has several different necklines back here on the back of her pattern. My pattern's about to fall apart. I've used it so much. Let's see her different necklines. This is for V's. This is for a U. You can take something out of your closet you like the neckline of and copy it. I'll come back tomorrow and we'll show you how we draw on the dolman sleeve, okay? And how I change the neck. And then I'll make one. I will make one and embellish it. How about that? I'll be back.